multiplying and dividing. Rational expressions. X marks the spot. We love when we get to cross things out. Generally, we're looking for X. Crossing things out is great. Oh, and X stands for multiply, so X is everywhere in this section.
So in order to start this section, we're going to go back to the basics. This you did in, I don't know, 3rd or 4th grade. Okay, 1/3 times 3/4. You can do it a couple of different ways. And I'm sure you have it in your head right now the way you would do it. Okay, the first way, you could just multiply straight across. And you get 3/12, which reduces to 1/4. Or you could do what we love to do these days and cross stuff out. And you can cross stuff out if one is on the top and one is on the bottom. Okay, and they can be the same thing, or they could be, one can be a factor of the other. Okay, but these just cancel each other out and we get 1/4, just like we did here. Okay, so for these problems, there's usually more than one way to do that.
So I'm just gonna give you one here. What if we have something like this? What if there's nothing in the denominator? You're right. Yes, we're just gonna put this one over 1. And I know that's a lovely straight line. We're gonna put that over 1, okay? And so then we're just going to do like what we did in the last section. We're just gonna look and see where we can factor. So if you look at the top of the first one, that's a trinomial. So we're going to unfoil that one. Okay, so we need 2 numbers that multiply to be 15 that also add up to be 8. Okay, and so that happens to be 3 and 5. I heard that. Good, good, good. Okay, so we've got x plus 3 times x plus 5 over 1. Okay, and then times 4. There's just a 4 on the top. There's nothing we can do to factor that. How about the bottom here? Is there anything we can do to factor that one? Yep. We're going to take out a GCF, and that GCF would be 2. So we have 2 times x plus 3. All right? So now we're going to look at this thing. Is there anything that you see that we can cross out? Yeah, this is the most fun piece, okay? As long as one is on the top and one is on the bottom, okay? It doesn't matter if it's diagonal, as long as one's on the top and one's on the bottom, okay? Anything else we could do? Anything we could cross out? I mean, we could multiply straight across now, but if you look at the numbers too, we look at the 4 and the 2, and 2 goes into both 4 and 2, okay? 2 is a factor of 4, goes in 2 times, and goes into 2 1 time, okay? So on the top we have a 2, and we have an x plus 5, okay? And on the bottom we just have 1. So we can put it over 1, or we can just leave it like this, okay? And I don't care, you can leave it like this, or you could multiply it out and make it 2x plus 10. Okay, I tend to prefer to have it factored just in case there was something on the bottom to see if we could cross something out. So I'm good with whichever way. These are both correct answers in my book.
All right, so we're gonna jump right in here. Look at this one. Doesn't this one look fun? All right, thumbs up. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to check and see if this can be factored, any of these pieces. And look at that. Are there lots of pieces that need to be factored? Yes, okay. So if we look at the top piece, it's x squared minus 1. That's a difference of squares. So we're gonna have x plus 1 and x minus 1. At the bottom of the first one, we're unfoiling, and we get x plus 2 and x plus 1. And on the top, we're looking at the second. We look and we see that there's a GCF. Okay, and that GCF is 2, so we pull out a 2. So this is what we have, and I want you to look at this for a second and see if you can figure out what we can do here. It is actually kind of cool what we end up getting to do. So maybe pause this video and see what you think you could do.
So check this out. Look at this. Okay, you get to, you see the x plus 1? It's gone because we have another x plus 1. And now we've got an x plus 2 and an x plus 2 and an x
minus 1 and an x minus 1. All we're left with is the 2. So my final answer for all of this stuff is just 2. And that's our final answer. All right, I would like you guys to try these two. So if you would pause the video and try these problems, that would be fantastic. All right, so if you look at this one, this one's already factored, but let's see how we can cross things out. This one's really nice because we can cross out our 2 squared plus 1s. And we can cross out these f's. And let's look. We've got this 16 and this 4. We can change this 4 to a 1 and this 16 to a 4. But ooh, look at this. I can change my 4 to a 2 and take a 2 out of this one. Look at all of that stuff I got to do. That is fantastic. Okay, so then on the top, if you look, the only thing I have left is a D. This one's tough. Okay, that's all I have. Okay, and then on the bottom, I've got a 2 and a 7. Okay, so 2 times 7 is 14. So my final answer was D over 14. What'd you do? Awesome. Okay, now let's look at this one. Okay, this one is factored already, but let's see what we can cross out. This one isn't quite as satisfying because you don't get to cross as much out. But we've got an n minus 5 over here and an n minus 5 up here. We've got an n plus 4 here and an n plus 4 here. So on the top of this one, we get n plus 4. And on the bottom, we have an n and an n plus 2. So that's what I'm going to write. N times n plus 2. And that's my final answer. Good job, guys. And we're going to go back to the basics again when we divide. Okay, so we're going to go 1/2 divided by 3/4. Okay, and you know that when you divide, you're multiplying by the reciprocal. So this would be the same thing as 1/2 times 4/3. Okay, so now this just becomes like the last problem. But in this case, we can't just cancel them out. So the first way, I'm just going to multiply straight across. So we get 4 over 6, or 2/3. Now for the crossing out. Okay, so now 2 is a factor of both 2 and 4, so we can cross those out, make those 1 and 2, and right away we get 2/3. Okay, so we're going to do basically the same thing with rational expressions. All right, so here's one of those division problems. Yay! Okay, but it's just like the other ones. We just have one extra step. Okay, we're going to divide. So basically we copy the first one, change this to multiply, and then flip the second one. So x squared minus 2x over x times, and then we flip it, x squared plus 2x plus 1 over x minus 2. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, and then we're going to see if there's something that factors. Okay, if you look at the first one, there's a GCF. Okay, yep, it's an x, so x times x minus 2 over x times, sorry, I'm trying to write sideways and I'm failing. Now this one, we're going to factor, we're going to unfoil that. It's 2 sets of parentheses. So we need 2 numbers that multiply to be 1 that also add up to be 2. So that would be 1 and 1. So x plus 1, x plus 1. And then this one is already x minus 2. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Sorry about the handwriting. And the 3-year-old in the background. Okay, so we're going to see what we can cross out. Okay, so I see an x and an x. And an x minus 2 and an x minus 2. So all we're left is an x plus 1 and an x plus 1. So I can write x plus 1 times x plus 1. I can write x plus 1 squared. Or I could FOIL that out and say x squared plus 2x plus 1. But I would leave it factored either like this or with both sets of parentheses. All right, so now I'm going to give you one, and that's it. You guys did fabulous job.
so here it is, guys. How are you gonna do? Okay, now look at the second one. This one, there's kind of a little trick. Okay, see there's nothing in the denominator? You need to put something in that denominator. All right, so let's try this one. So this one, the denominator is 1. So then when we flip it, we have 1 in the numerator. Okay, so we're gonna factor. And if you look here, we've got a GCF on the top. So x times x minus 1. And then on the bottom of the second one, we're going to unfoil that. We get x minus 1 and x plus 3. Okay, so this one is not nearly as satisfying. The only thing we can cross out is our x minus 1s. Okay, even though there's an x on the top and then x is on the bottom, these x's are parts of those parentheses, so we can't cross them out. So this is your final answer. All right, nice job, you guys.